But a woman doesn't get that choice about her womb, about her ovaries.
Well, the baby
about
is
her
not
uterus.
an organ of
No,
hers. A baby is an individual human being.
So you get to make choices about your internal organs, but a living, breathing woman does not.
Well,
okay, I understand.
No, I don't think you do understand, because I don't think you understand very well at all, unfortunately.
Michael Knowles forces this crazed leftist to flee after her brain glitches out from shutting down her insane abortion argument, as this woman tries to reduce people to nothing more than organs in her liberal worldview, and Michael Knowles shuts down this crazy idea, and she literally can't handle it. Let's get in.
Do you believe that organ donation should be mandatory?
I do not.
You do not. Okay, so if you believe that even a dead person has the right to bodily autonomy, even if that dead person's organs could save up to 8 lives, and yet you also believe that women should be legally mandated to sacrifice their bodily autonomy in order to save the life of a fetus, by your own logic, a corpse has more right to bodily autonomy than a living, breathing woman.
Well, you imposed upon me a liberal view that I do not hold, which is that my views of abortion come from some sense of bodily autonomy. I'm not a huge autonomy guy to begin with. I don't think that I own my body. I think my body is sort of a gift, and I have obligations to my creator. The reason that I don't support mandatory organ donation is not because of some liberal conception of autonomy or something. It's because that's not what your organs are for. Your organs are for you. Your lungs are to bring oxygen to your blood. Your heart is to pump blood around your body. Your liver is to take care of what I will probably do later on at the bar after this speech, and so on and so forth. My organs are not for you. Your organs are not for me. So you can give an organ donation, and that can be a lovely thing to do, but you aren't obligated for it, because things are known largely by what they are for.
Okay. It sounded like you were just going to be anti-organ donation for a second. I was like, that's weird.
No. But I am against, going in and stealing people's organs. I think that would be quite wrong.
Stealing from a person who isn't alive, which gives them more
I think
right,
desecrating bodies is pretty bad, or like digging up graves is bad too, yeah.
Mm-hmm. If you don't believe that withholding resources like life-saving organs, which you would die without if you have organ failure, if you don't believe that withholding resources like that means that you're killing a person, would you be pro cutting the umbilical cord rather than removing a fetus so that the fetus would no longer be able to grow without the nutrients it needs?
I think it would be wrong for a mother to kill her child. So I don't view my organs, say, as resources, as you've put it in a kind of like materialist liberal way. I kind of think of them as my organs, and I think of my body as like my body, and I think of me as a person, not just a big sack of flesh that can be chopped up for the pleasure of some liberal technocrat. Call me old-fashioned, I guess. But then you turn to this example and you say, well, okay, what about cutting the umbilical cord eventually you do cut the umbilical cord when the baby comes out, but what about cutting the umbilical cord or otherwise killing the baby? I think that would be quite wrong to do, because your baby is not for your killing. Your baby is not justifying some kind of murder. That was the topic of our discussion tonight. And furthermore, a woman's womb, which is another organ that you haven't brought up, has a purpose too. And the purpose of the woman's womb is to grow a baby. And the baby is not just a clump of cells or a parasite or any other dehumanizing way that the liberals talk about it. The baby is your baby. And when mothers kill their babies, that's contrary to reason and contrary to nature.
Yeah, Michael Knowles is right. It's not just a clump of cells. It's not just organs. I always find it so amusing that the people on the left, these crazed liberal leftists who want to assume the moral high ground, reduce everything to basically not worth anything. Like, your body's not worth anything. Your womb's not worth anything. Your kids aren't worth anything. Your privacy isn't worth anything. They call it freedom. They call it love, whatever nonsense they want to call it. At the end of the day, you're just giving parts away of you that otherwise should be held dear and sacred and important. Like, to reduce a baby to no more than an organ. You even saw it when she responded, oh yeah, like this is a materialistic woman who takes a leftist view and looks at everything that's just building blocks. Like, people aren't even really people. Like, they're just resources. They're just things. It's just an arm, it's just a leg, it's just a womb. It's just a clump of cells. But these people yet at the same time assume that they are so morally and ethically righteous. But these people don't value anything, not their lives, not their cities, not their health, anything. I just makes absolutely no effing sense to me at all. But let me know in the comments if you think a fetus is no more than a clump of cells, and hit that like button, helps the algorithm, and let's get back in.
So back to what I was saying, you love doing this thing where you go off about some nonsense that isn't what the original question was about.
Logic, yes, yeah, I know. I do occasionally.
Logic
occasionally apply that.
Entirely unrelated to what I was saying in the first place. But
what were you saying? Perhaps I misunderstood. I thought I understood.
You misunderstood. So withholding resources.
Right. Yeah, I suppose I just don't.
Someone will die.
Yeah,
when
I suppose
you have organ failure, not having an organ donor kills you. Surprise. So withholding resources from them, that isn't killing, that isn't wrong. But withholding resources from a growing fetus, somehow that's different. And the way
as
you
I tried to
make that leap, so I'm getting confused there.
You are getting confused. As I tried to explain, you are beginning with a premise that all of our organs are just undifferentiated resources to which any of us might be entitled. And that's a novel view. It's a view held by, I guess, some rather extreme liberals or materialists, but it's not a view held by me. I don't think that it's all just undifferentiated flesh. I think that things like organs have both form and matter. So there's the matter, there's the flesh, there's the stuff, but then there's the form, which tells you about what that thing is. And so my liver might look a lot like your liver, but they're different livers. One's mine, for instance, and one is yours. So you don't have a right to mine, and I don't have a right to yours, because your liver is for you, and my liver is for me. And we all know this, and we all act that way. That's why you're not coming up here and attacking me and ripping my kidneys out and selling it on a market in Wuhan or something like that. But we pretend that we don't believe these things because it helps to advance an argument which is totally indefensible and unnatural, namely that we ought to kill a baby or something like that.
So your organs are for you and you alone. You get to decide what to do with them. But a woman doesn't get that choice about her womb, about her ovaries.
Well, the baby
about
is
her
not
uterus.
an organ of
No,
hers. A baby is an individual human
being. You get to make choices about your internal organs, but a living, breathing woman does not.
Well,
okay, I understand.
No, I don't think you do understand, because I don't think you understand very well at all, unfortunately, because you're suggesting that the baby is an organ of the woman, which is preposterous, obviously. The baby is differentiated from organs by its DNA, by how it will develop, by, I don't think she's listening to the rest of my answer.
Not worth listening to, Matt!
Matt!
This girl wasn't even present mentally enough to know Michael Knowles' actual name. I mean, that's embarrassing, calling someone the wrong name when you've been talking to them the whole time. Like, folks, it's just insane. If you remember when she started on the second segment, she even started with, logic has nothing to do with what I was saying. Yes, she's absolutely right. That is the one thing I will agree with this woman on. Logic has literally nothing to do with anything that she's talking about. She has a narrative. She's going to bend reality to it. And when she doesn't get her way, she's going to run off and flee, because that's what children do. This girl has not grown up and has not accepted the real world, just like all of these crazed leftists typically do. But at the end of the day, no, a fetus is not just an organ. If that was the case, why can't we just regrow a new heart, a new liver, a new lung? Because that's just not the way it works. But folks, thanks for watching. Let me know in the comments what you thought Michael Knowles had to say, destroying this liberal's worldview and forcing her to flee. Thanks again, like and subscribe, and I will see you on the next one.